Things I learned in this months I've been trying to absorb the Turkic language. The Turkish language. Turkic is a broader meaning adjective. And I know nobody's going to watch these videos, but anyway, I want to speak my mind and throw this little pebble into the internet ocean, so to speak. One of the reasons why I started Turkish, there's not one reason, is to face after some decades a completely new language that is a far cry from the language I know. Some people can think that Greek is Greek to me. Greek, after all things considered, is not as difficult as Turkish. Some people can differ. Turkish is, for the most part, a very regular language. But I think that there is a main problem when people face language learning. I would say language absorbing. That's one of the main points in this video. That for the most part, people actually don't learn a language. They learn the part of the language that is different from their own language. What does it mean? It means that even if you're Italian and you learn French, very easy to not to get lost, because you start with a head start. Sorry for the pun. That means that a lot of the words you hear are familiar. Grammar is not completely different. With a little bit of effort, even if you don't speak French well, you start to learn French, to understand French quite soon. The same goes for Spanish, the same goes for Portuguese, and a little less with Romanian. But even if we consider English, okay, half of the words are familiar. For one reason, for two reasons. First reason is that English is full of Latinate words, either through French or directly from Latin through scholars. Another thing is that even here in Italy, many people use English words. So I don't say you already know English, obviously, but even here you start with a head start. So we think that, yeah, I listen to the language, little by little I get the hang of it. And that can work for languages. For example, I learned, I can understand for the most part Corsican language, which is considered an Italian dialect, but at the beginning I couldn't understand. But I had a head start. It means from the context I could gather the meanings of the unknown words, or I could infer the meaning of words that we have in Italian, but we use in a different way. Okay? For example, in Corsican, zitello means a boy, and in Italian it means single. That means people who were not married in the past. People who were not married were youngsters. But okay, from the context and many other words. Even if, let's take another language that is quite different vocabulary wise. There is German. Okay, we always have a head start, not a big one, but many words sounds like English. Many Italians know English, and even there are some Latin words, not so many as in English. And the other aspect that is very important is the fact that we don't realize how similar in structure those languages are. Even English, they sometimes have a difference. The person you're talking to, in most language, we say la persona con cui parli, la persona avec, if I remember well, French is not my first language, la personne avec laquelle tu es en train de parler. A pessoa con la qual, I don't remember but more or less it's the same structure. Obviously not perfectly, but we get also here a good structure, a good head start in grammar and in syntax. We know where, for the most part, words are put. I see a cat. Io vedo un gatto, oppure vedo un gatto. Je vois un chat. Eu vejo um chat. Um gato. French. Eu vejo o gato. Vejo o gato. I don't know in Spanish. So we have subject, verb, and object. Some European languages conjugate verbs, and you don't need. When you conjugate, or you have we call declinare. You have the declinism. You don't need necessarily need subjects in verbs that are conjugated, personal pronouns. So, or you need less prepositions if a language has declinaisons. We don't have declinaisons. We have remainders of the declinaisons. Io, subject, me, object, I, me, he, him, her, she, her, them. One of the markers of object is it was a nasal sound, either the n that we find in Greek, or the m that we find both in Latin, hominem, hominem, or in English, him, them, whom. Anyway, a nasal sound. Obviously, languages have a marker of the object, have a freer structure, because you can put the object wherever you want. It sounds and looks like an object. O Ioannis agapai ti Maria, that's Greek. Ti Maria agapai o Ioannis doesn't change the meaning, because I put tin article and Maria. That gives the idea this is object, so you can put the subject there. But anyway, for the most part, we have a verb to be, a verb to have, we have a marker of not, that is outside the structure of the verb. I don't like slippers. A me non piacciono le pantofole. Δεν μ' αρέσουν οι παντούφλες. You have to, αυτό, you have this, or speaking Greek, you have this, that is a marker for negation of verbs, and you have a negation, simple negation, which is for the most part in Indo-European languages no, no, niet. Only in Greek is ne, it means yes. That's the only exception. So you take a language like Turkish, but I think the same goes for Japanese. Many languages have similar structure, all Turkic languages obviously, Hungarian, Finnish, Korean, and Mongolian, and even Japanese have a similar structure. I see some phrases in Hungarian, I was speaking with some a long time ago, and they obviously different words, different grammar, different words, but very similar structure. Subject, object, verb, the negation is inside the verb. There's always something that marks a question that doesn't change, only two harmonic vowel harmony. If you have a, there's a suffix that's a, it becomes a, but there are some e suffixes that can change to e, to u, and to u. It's difficult to explain, but it's typical of Turkish languages and other similar languages. They have a similar structure. So what happens? Turkish people have an advantage because they are exposed to our kind of Indo-European structure languages very early. Most languages they learn, be it English, French, or Italian, even Greek, are very similar in Turkey in structure. That means if most of the international languages were Turkic, it wouldn't be very difficult if I learn, I don't know, Azeri, or even a different, a little bit more different Turkic language to get into the way of phrasing that Turkish people have. So many times we think that language is difficult just because it's not easy. It's not intrinsically difficult. It's just that we are cajoled, we are pampered, we are spoiled by the fact that most languages are not really 100% foreign languages. Even Turkic, that I would say, is for the most part a foreign language. For an Arab speaker, I have common, with a different pronunciation obviously, common many common words. Even for me, a speaker of Greek, it has it's not my first language, but I speak it. So if you speak the language or you understand the language, you're a speaker of the language. I wouldn't add the word native, but anyway, there are some dozens of words that I already know. Obviously, not always the same meaning. There are false friends. There are words that in Greek they stem from the Turkish language, but they got a different meaning. There are words in Greek that stem from the Turkish language. They got them from the Turkish language. Actually, the Turkish language got these words from either Arabic or Persian language, Farsi. So what have I learned in these 10 months? Not a lot of Turkish. I started I pussyfooted, so to speak, because at the beginning everything is different and you can get overwhelmed. So the idea is like this trench war. You don't push forward. Everybody tells you, let's push forward, learn the language as fast as possible, as effectively as possible. Yes, but that's not the way we learn languages. We learn languages, for the most part, when we say we learn, we absorb languages, means our first languages, or our second language when a child goes to another country and he absorbs a second language when he's 10 or 15 or 5 in a very natural way. That means being constantly exposed to the language 24/7, and when you absorb the language, when you learn your first language or your second language, when you go to another country, and in a meaningful way, that means with objects, with situations, but we learn very, very slowly. I think that okay, the first language is, let's think that even for your first language, a 4-year boy doesn't have a very broad vocabulary as opposed to a 10, and I think that you come to a plateau when 18 and you stop, but other people continue learning because there's a lot to learn, and they have a broad vocabulary more than other people. So basically, you never learn the whole language 100%. I always learn because I keep a curious mind. When I learn, I bump into words I don't know, both in Italian and English. In Greek, obviously, is not my. I'm fluent, but I'm not. I cannot pass off as a Greek person, or people may think that I'm a Greek person who lives abroad, has been living abroad for 10, 20, or 30 years, and it's a little bit rusty. But so I frequently learn new words, mainly in the written language rather than the spoken language. But that's another thing. So, how can how can anyone learn a language without a head start? Okay, the kind of 20, 30, or 40 words are similar in Greek. It's not a big head start, because many times those similar words are not basic words. I mean, not numbers, not prepositions, not pronouns, nothing. You have in Greek name of objects, name of shopkeepers, banalvis, bakalis, chasapis, slang words that are from, yes, but for the most part are adjectives, like nouns like tembelis, davazis, adais. Okay, there are many, but not enough to give you a head start. Okay, they don't give a head start. Now and then you already know the word. Okay, you associate it with that word that in Greek most likely have a different pronunciation. For example, finjan means cup or mug, and in Greek is a flitsani. Okay, but tsanda in Turkish is chanta, tsanda. Okay, but anyway, let's assume the Greek is a black word. I can't say a white blackboard, a whiteboard, nothing. It's daunting. It is daunting. Italian is not daunting. French is not daunting. Dutch not. German a little bit more. But Greek, Turkish, So I'd say that Turkish is the easiest of the difficult languages. But my main point is not really Greek. Greek is excuse that make me understand those things. The idea is they learn very steadily and very deeply. So I first read my lessons on Asimil, and I have the audio part, and I bring this with me every time I get out, every time I walk, and every time, and it's underneath me. The first 10, 15, I know where I start to not be able to understand like my main language. I mean, those lessons I've been listening and re-listening and listening, over-listening. To coin a phrase doesn't exist. Over-listening means listen to those lessons too much. Over and over and over. Those words are not just words. They are meanings. I mean, I understand the first lessons like Italian or like English. And that's the idea. You learn as a child. A child is not thinking about, what I need to understand, I need to learn. Fuck all this stress. Fuck the stress. Let's think. I know it sounds strange. Knowing a language, absorbing a language, is like getting a 10. You're not stressed. You go to the beach, you are exposed to the sun, you're getting a 10. Okay? You don't go there and they say, oh no, I'm getting a 10. Okay, if from Finland or Sweden, get a sunblock. But anyway, for the most part, just being exposed to the sun gets you a 10. If you don't get a 10, you've not been exposed long enough to the sun. So, let's think this. Even the most difficult language is spoken by children. There's no language that a child, gets more time, I don't know, but even so, don't get scared by the language. And don't call it foreign language. I know it is a foreign language, but the word foreign gives you the idea that it will never be yours, because it's foreign. It's not mine, it's a foreign language. So I learned something that is foreign to me. I know I'm not for politically correctness, but this time round it works. I would say I'm learning a new language, still unfamiliar to me. Not familiar yet. That's the idea. Don't be hard pressed. That doesn't mean don't do your whatever you need to do, which for the most part follow a good method, a progressive method with the audio part, and learn it by fucking heart. So you have to learn by heart. Not in that way. It means be exposed to those lessons until you know that you know, and you follow a path. Hoping that the method is good, but I have 2-3 methods, so my main goal now is absorbing Asimil. I have another book, I have actually 3 books. When I've done Asimil, I'm just starting and taking notes. I always take notes, margin notes for his name. Marge, I don't remember well in English. I always write notes. always. I know you cannot see well. Yes, because the bridge. Okay. That the first time you have to go over the hill. That means the first time you need to attain a level where everything is downhill in the meaning of easy. What does it mean? If I learned basic Turkish, so to speak, very well, it means I assimilated, that's why I call it assimil. Corso di lingua turca moderna, and the other one with all the notes, and the other one also have a CD. I can improve my level through listening to the language, being exposed to the language, reading articles, watching TV series, taking notes of the words I don't know, but I already have the core down. Okay? The core of the language means the basic things that you need to know in order not to get lost when somebody speaks. And the idea is, if you have a strong immediate connection between the word and whatever it means and its purpose, sometimes it's a purpose because I know yet. What is the meaning of yet? It's difficult. Is it something that expresses something but there's not a clear translation of yet, or there's no synonym? It's like a tool. When I say hat, you can picture yourself the thing actually. So my long speech is to encourage you not to be scared. Take it easy. Take it easy doesn't mean don't do your homework, because you're not going to learn a language if you're not exposed to the language. That's for sure. But think language like exercise. You don't start and run. I used to run 4 hours, but after years, and I haven't been running, I learned the first day at my age, I ran 800 meters and then I stopped. I'm sure if I do that in 1 month's time, I will run 2 kilometers, and 3, 4, 5 months I can go back and run even 10 kilometers back to back. But okay, this goes also for languages. So the main mistake people make in language learning is not all this, write the words here, do this, all this mumbo jumbo about get the exact right pronunciation, try to do that, try to do that. You need to be curious. You need to want to absorb the language. You need to open your ears and listen. Listen a lot, and you will get the musicality of the language. To me, it's easier to speak a language with the right accent, having heard thousands of hours of that languages with an open mind and being curious, than all this, you need to do this to make a question, or you have to raise the voice and nobody taught me that, not in English nor in Italian. It's automatic. And even if I make some mistakes both in English and in Italian, it's not the end of the world. Leave well enough alone. In the long run, you can speak the language very well, more than you can even imagine. You will end up one day speaking the language almost like a native, and okay, I haven't done much. I've just lived the fucking language. I've lived it. That's why all this hyperlinguist loose hang, they want to learn the language. In order to speak so many languages, they need to use mnemotechnics, and they work. They work, but not that well. It means that you will speak a language, you will understand what people don't speak very fast, people will understand you, but you will always look and sound stilted. Or you will sound fluent in 1-2 languages. Those languages you acquired through a lot of technique. They work up, and then as fast as you learn them, you will forget them. So these people end up saying they speak 4 languages, no, 10, 11. I'll tell you the truth, I'm sure they've been speaking, or they've spoken those languages well, but not all of them at the same time. I know there was a period when they spoke Czech language better, and then a period when they devoted more time on acquiring the Chinese language or any other language, and then when they move on. The other language becomes more and more poorer and poorer. That's normal. Even I struggle to speak Italian and English, Greek, and I'm learning Turkish. But I've been being exposed to Greek since 1985, 84. Turkish, no. I took one examination in 1987, and then I've done nothing, and I restarted less than 1 year ago. But now, those lessons that I've been exposed to, I understand. I do fucking understand when people's okay, but since the lesson is only old language, give me time. Give yourself time. Give yourselves credit. Believe you me. You like the language, you're exposed to the language, you learn with the audio part and give more time. I start first working on what is written, and then I read and I hear and hear until those lessons are part of me. Okay? So take it easy. Watching, I know I've been, this is a video where you, but for the most part, don't get in groups where they speak about English in Chinese. If you're Chinese, if you want to learn English, immerse yourself into the language. I see some groups about learning Greek. For Christ's sake, they're all writing in English. You don't learn Greek speaking about Greek. You learn Greek using Greek. First to understand, then you speak, then you read, and then you write. This is the order, okay? Sorry, I have to speak my mind because I see a lot of mumbo jumbo, a lot of things that are false. There's nothing in the middle. People who beat around the bush and people who are sticklers for details. There's nothing in the middle, for Christ's sake. I am in the middle. You can't learn Turkish or Japanese or Chinese through watching videos of people speaking. You don't have the key. If you live 200 years, I'm sure you will understand. Even watching this video, sure, we don't have those time. We need to be exposed like children with people that helps us. The method does that in a way. Okay? Follow and trust their method. Don't watch videos now. When you have absorbed the method and you have done all the basic grammar, all the basic words, not thousands of thousands, but better. I don't know. I'm 3,000 words, but perfectly. Is better than 10,000 words that, oh, okay, that's it, oh, yes. No, when people speak, you don't have the time. You don't have the time to retrieve the words in your memory. You're already lost. So you will start from learning and understanding very simple sentences like, where is my book? I went to the station. Ah, yesterday I went to the station. For simple things. I had students who didn't understand in English the word laugh, but he understood the word cod, the fish. And he said, unless you fish, why on earth you know, and I forgot in Italian, cod, merluzzo, in English, but you don't know the word ridere, to laugh or laugh? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I hope that this time round people will agree with me. So the gist of all this long-winded video is that take your time, use a method with audio, be with the audio part, be exposed to this constantly in your downtime. I use this when I walk. Obviously, lesson 15 left, and then I know from a lesson on that this is, oh, I cannot understand anymore like before. There are new words and and then every day I will read. When I'm home, I prefer reading because I have my books here. And when I'm outside, I prefer listening while I'm doing other things. So even going somewhere far, okay, I need to go. It takes 1 hour. 1 hour. I have also my exercise book with the text. If I don't remember well, I can learn the language for 1.5 hours, and this is not time that I lost. Goodbye.